We've been united by divisive events. We must use this moment to continue to make progress. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
Stand up, stand with us, stand strong.
Hi everybody, welcome to Show Racism the Red Card, our launch of Wear Red Day. Wear Red Day this year is going to be on the 16th of October and we have plans to smash it out of the park. Obviously, never been a more important year for the fight against racism. Black Lives Matter has shone a light on the injustices of racism, the crime of racism around the world. And this is our opportunity to support Show Racism the Red Card. Personally, for me, the most fantastic anti-racism charity in the UK, if not in Europe. So today we have an enormously fantastic lineup of speakers across the trade union movement, across football and activists, and some absolute heroes who have joined us, patrons of Show Racism the Red Card, showing that really it's a charity that has grown over the last 10, 20 years to be something of magical importance in society, where we're let down in respect of anti-racism education. Show Racism the Red Card has stepped in. So we have a lineup of speakers from Len McCluskey, Leroy Rossignol, Claire Williams, Laura Pidcock, Simone Pound, and Shaka Hislop, and then we're joined by some amazing patrons. We have Neville Southall on the Zoom, an absolute hero of mine. Sad he never played for Manchester United, but never mind. Still one of the best goalkeepers of all time. With Paul Davis, Rachel Yankee, Liam Rossignol. I don't know how Liam is ever getting away with claiming that he's Leroy's son, because they look about the same age. A whole host. John Barnes is on as a patron, Chris Houghton, Ken Moncoy, and many, many more. So I'm going to open this up for the speeches because we're going to be short of time here, and then we're going to have a question and answer session afterwards. And hopefully at the end of this Zoom, everyone will feel motivated to give your support to Show Racism the Red Card, to Wear Red on the 16th of October, and of course to contribute.
Wear Red Day is Show Racism the Red Card's National Day of Action, which encourages schools, businesses and individuals to wear red and donate to help fund anti-racism education for young people and adults across the UK. Here are 5 ways in which you can get involved and do your bit for Wear Red Day. First of all, you can start off small by spreading the message. Stick on something red, take a picture and upload using the hashtag WRD20 to try and get as many people involved in Wear Red Day 2020 as possible. Secondly, you can take part in our Keep Up the Momentum challenge. Grab a football and a blindfold and film yourself doing as many keepy uppies as you can. Use the hashtag KeepUpChallenge, tag 3 friends and donate to Show Racism the Red Card. Number 3, encourage your school or workplace to get involved and have everyone wearing red on October the 16th. Or if you're still working from home, hold a virtual Wear Red Day. Get everyone on a call, wearing red, and don't miss out on doing your bit. And finally, number 5, do not forget to donate to raise money to fund anti-racism education across the UK. You can text RED to 70470 to donate £1. Text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus your standard rate message. Have fun getting involved in Wear Red Day 2020 and don't forget to wear red on the 16th of October.
So the first speaker today is a great friend and comrade of mine. He's also my boss. He supports the wrong football team. He has done all his life. Every now and again, he gets thrown a crumb, like one title in 30 years. He's the unbelievable Len McCluskey, who stands up for working people all the time and has fought racism all his life. So Len, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Howard, and hello, everyone. To everybody watching, I just want to say how proud I am to once again associate myself with this particular organization, Show Racism the Red Card. I've said it before, but it is worthwhile repeating that this is my favorite charity because, of course, it deals with perhaps the greatest evil within our society, and that is the evil of racism. The idea that people are subjected to abuse and discrimination because of the color of their skin or where they come from is something that is the mark of a society that isn't right. A civilized society embraces people no matter what color or gender they are. And I believe Show Racism, the Red Card, some years ago hit on this idea of using this beautiful, beautiful game of ours, the national game, to utilize the message and to take that message to young people. I've no doubt John Barnes may cover this, but John, I've heard speak with some passion and some detail about this isn't just about football. This isn't kicking racism out of football. This is challenging what is going on within our societies. And when I've watched what Show Racism does by bringing together children throughout our nation to debate and discuss this situation and this issue that they themselves are actually involved in. Some of them, and have been to many particular sessions, have heard their parents come out with language that is wrong and is racist. And they themselves are beginning, in some of the sessions I've seen, of teaching their parents that that is wrong. And for me, using our game the way this organization does is brilliant and the key forward. Jed, I'm not sure I read figures the other day, 50,000 children, 6,000 adults. It's just amazing what this body does. And so I'm particularly proud to be associated. I'm particularly proud that my union is associated with this. My executive meets again next week, and we always have a debate about this particular organization, and there is 100% support. The more we can do, the more we can advance the work that has been done by the organization is right. I've said it many times. It always gives me a thrill and an excitement to see my heroes, not just John Barnes, who of course is my favorite hero, but I agree with what Howard said about Neville. Fantastic socialist Neville is as well, and at one particular point was the best goalkeeper in the world. And I see when I go to some of these sessions, when some of our football heroes are on the platform, the excitement from young kids, it is really an extraordinary thing. Jed, I don't want to take, Howard, I don't want to take up too much time because I know people have got a lot to say. I did want to take this opportunity to record my thanks for what Marcus Rashford has done in highlighting child poverty, because of course child poverty, although it affects all children of all creeds, the fact is that Black and ethnic minority children are disproportionately affected by this. And so huge thanks, huge admiration for what Marcus has done. And I think all of us can continue to play the role that we do. So Howard and Jed, you will have 100% the commitment of this union. Incidentally, for the members of the public who are watching in, I had permission to wear my my Liverpool scarf in celebration of our 30 years of wait. It won't be another 30 years. We'll be doing it again this year. But wherever you are supporting football, then embrace this charity and make certain that there is sufficient finance, because finance in any organization is absolutely critical. We need your support, we need your commitment, and I'm sure that the impact that we are having and this organization is having will make certain that we will have a better future for all our children and indeed for everyone in our nations. Thanks a lot, Howard.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thanks, Len. That's superb. Thank you very much. I was loving watching Neville, as you were referencing Liverpool there, shaking his head in his van. He's doing deliveries at the moment on behalf of the needy, and he's shaking his head as your mention of Liverpool, which I'm loving. For all of our viewers out there, just to reference the fact that Show Racism the Red Card is a charity that's about education of young people, about taking them away from racist thoughts. It uses football as the medium to make sure that there's a connect with young people. And I never cease to be blown away by the amount of support the professional footballers of the past and the present give to Show Racism the Red Card, how professional footballers have not lost their identity, not lost their background, and understand the importance of giving back. And obviously, our next speaker, Leroy Rosnier, is not only was he a fantastic footballer, he played for my father's club, West Ham, a fantastic footballer, but more importantly, a fantastic person. I don't think there's anybody that, certainly in my view, who's given more to Show Racism the Red Card. I've seen him with young people. I've seen videos of his education clips, truly inspiring. Somebody who really understands that the privilege of football to try and educate youth is a responsibility of all of us. It should be a responsibility of the state, but in that they've given that up. Show Racism the Red Card is filling that vacuum, and nobody more so than Leroy. Leroy, I can't wait to hear from you. Thanks very much for joining us again. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Howard, and thank you, Len. Really good to hear from you. Look, I totally agree with everything Len and Howard have just said. What I will say is I honestly and truly believe this is the most important year in the history of Show Racism the Red Card, because where we stand historically, with what's going on around the world. We saw what happened with Breonna Taylor yesterday, and people not being brought to justice for that. We've seen that the Black Lives Matter movement, and there's been a debate now about whether that is losing its energy and whether it's losing its focus. Well, you know what the answer is? It can't lose its energy and it can't lose its focus. And I'm watching things going on around the world, and every time somebody's asked what needs to happen, the word comes out: education, education, education. But what we need to do is make sure that this year, that when people ask what needs to happen, is that they come to Show Racism the Red Card, because that's what education is. Is it anti-racism? Is it unconscious bias? Is it preventing extremism? Is it teacher training? These are things we have to nail these things down so people get the education that they need. And so we need to understand what we're delivering. And with all the cooperation and the funding that's going into Show Racism the Red Card, we need to deliver. We have no option but to deliver. It's so important. And I still feel there's a tick box exercise going on around the world. I see a lot of it going on. People still thinking that, for instance, if you put someone on the short list, like a black man on the short list, and he's on the short list, that means that we are trying to achieve racial equality. But look, from my point of view, I'm a great believer in positive discrimination. If I want a black man to get the job, I'm going to find the 10 best black people to interview, the best black men to interview to get the best black man. If I want a woman for the job, I'm going to find the 10 best women for the job to get the best woman for the job. And if I want somebody who's disabled, I'll find 10 disabled people who are the best in their field, and for them to get the job. I'm not just going to put one of them on a list of people and then say, I've done my job. And at the moment, that's what's going on. And we have to make sure that we are prepared to educate those people that is not enough. That is nowhere near enough. And that's where Red Day and Show Racism the Red Card needs to come in and fill that void. And it's so important. It's the biggest year because of everything that's gone on. People find themselves in a situation where they will start to look inward because of what's going on, because of the pandemic, because of losing their jobs, because of the situation that they find themselves in. But we still need to hopefully help them to look outwards at the racism and the inequality that goes on in our society. And that's the responsibility of us and Show Racism the Red Card. And they will take up that slack. Hopefully, and I truly believe that they will. And it starts this year. You know, we look back on the great work that Show Racism has done over many, many years. And, you know, I pay total tribute to Shaka Hislop for starting this organisation. What a wonderful thing he's done for over many, many years. But as we know in football, and Len, you're talking about, you know, Liverpool winning the title this year. Now they're looking to go on and win the title again. Well, Show Racism the Red Card need to go and deliver again from now on, not just on, you know, past glories and the good work that has been done, but the good work that needs to be done now going forward. And I'm delighted that, You know, Neville's here, John Barnes is here, Chris Houghton's here. I've seen so many of my ex-colleagues, and by the way, you all still fairly young. You know, Mort's, your beard's a bit white, but never mind. But we have got lots of energy, and we need to focus that energy in delivery and making sure that we take this opportunity to make sure that we deliver racial equality, hopefully in my lifetime. Thank you, Howard. I really appreciate that.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thanks, Leroy. Thanks very much. Listen, I'm going to bore people who are watching by continually repeating that we don't have anti-racism on the school curriculum. We don't have time to educate teachers in respect of how to cope with racism, and we don't educate our pupils, our young people. And that's where Show Racism the Red Card plays such a vital role in society, supported across all of our trade unions, because we understand that education is the key in respect of how we tackle racism, the most incredible of charities. And if anybody is asking you what is good about trade unions, before you start pointing to anything else, and there's plenty to point to in respect of everything that we're doing at the moment, point to Show Racism the Red Card, because we supported and funded them throughout their 22 years. The next speaker who we have on is a wonderful friend, Laura Pidcock. She is an example for all people, but she also had the privilege of working with Show Racism the Red Card for a period of time. She understands to the scars of working with Jed. Unfortunately, she had to follow Jed around and steer Jed around from conference to conference over many years, and I'm sure he misses her greatly. The floor is all yours, Laura. Thank you.
I think that's a bit harsh. It was an absolute pleasure to work with Jed Greby, and I have to say, after being on this call for about 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is now, I already feel kind of uplifted from just being in the presence of all of these people who I have worked with in the past in some, let's be honest, Leroy, where are you, some very challenging conditions in workshops with young people, but in also spaces where people's minds have been changed, and that is just the beauty of this organisation. So it is a privilege to speak here today. It was a privilege to work for Show Racism the Red Card for 8.5 years. I was part of creating resources, having those conversations with thousands of young people across the Northeast, across the UK. And I've seen how those conversations that I have, the conversations that are ongoing, are part of lifting that racism from the souls of young people by just eliciting those conversations, by allowing them to see how the system works. It honestly sometimes took 2 or 3 questions to those young people for the whole kind of racist narrative to start to crumble in front of their very own eyes, where they started to question where they got their information from, where they started to question the system around them and started to see that much of what they had been told about how things works was from the lens of a mainstream media that often wishes to divide us. And I think we're now a particularly interesting time to be alive. That's an understatement, isn't it? We're living through intense conditions for working people, living through the consequences that capitalism's had on the planet, with the ravaging of our ecosystem, the harm to species extinction on a mass scale, and a pandemic, yes, a coronavirus pandemic, but also a pandemic of exploitation of working people. And the potential that racism has to divide working class people is immense. The way it impacts on entire communities is so powerful, so harmful. And of course, it limits the individual capacity of human brilliance too, because of the mental anguish of constantly having to deal with that form of oppression. Nobody wins from racism other than the most powerful people in the world. So I think being an anti-racist activist is about, yes, challenging that interpersonal racism, whatever you hear in the streets, pubs when we're allowed to freely mix there. It's an act of solidarity, that challenge, isn't it, to fellow working class people who may be receiving it. It's about supporting brilliant initiatives like Show Racism, the Red Cards, Wear Red Day. I remember the hundreds of funding applications that you put in to fund us to do this important work. And the money raised from Wear Red Day allows the organisation in an unrestricted way to carry on creatively in their anti-racism education. But our anti-racism activism surely must also be about taking on a system which keeps most working class people in all of our beautiful diversity only a few steps away from starvation, about challenging the way in which the system disproportionately disadvantages Black, Asian, Gypsy, Roma, traveller people within the UK in terms of health outcomes and economic status. Nothing has shone a light on that more than this coronavirus crisis. And loads of people say it, but I genuinely believe it. There's nothing about what comes next in our future that is inevitable. It is big moments of crisis, unfortunately, do not always lead to more solidarity between working class people. And I am really worried about the capacity for the far right to grow in this period. I think their capacity to grow is immense if we do not take action and play a role in direct intervention, building and campaigning to stop the far right. The far right will grow unless we grow a massive, diverse resistance to them. The conditions that allow racism to grow, we're living in them. Extreme, as I've said, poverty and uncertainty and precariousness for working class people. We know that it is our movement that has so many of the solutions. We know that every single day in the workplace, people of all communities work together to get jobs done. And it is in our solidarity that we will beat the far right and that we will beat racism and ultimately beat a racist system. So all power to Black Lives Matter, all power to show racism the red card in what they do, to unite the union for being a very strong and loyal friend to show racism the red card in the good times and in the more worrying times too. All power to Jed Grevy, who's kept going all these years and has been absolutely solid in his campaign to challenge racism, and to every single person on this call who has been a loyal patron and activist in the fight against racism. We absolutely have a world to win, and it'll come through diverse mass movement of working class people. Thanks very much, Howard.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thanks, Laura. That's brilliant. And thank you for being such a friend for Show Racism the Red Card. I know it's a passion of yours and a passion that you continue to promote through the People's Assembly and all of your work that you do there. So thank you very much. And obviously a contribution, Laura, that I absolutely agree with: the institutionalized nature of racism, its class connotations. And for anybody who's watching this Zoom who doubts the institutionalized nature of racism, then I would recommend you to watch 13th on Netflix. It is eye-opening in respect of how racism is endemic and institutionalized in America, how they've criminalized an entire section of society in order to keep control. And it shows that we are talking about class and race issues together. It is an incredible movie and should be watched by everybody. We've been joined by some more fantastic guests, and I'm going to shout out patrons of Show Racism the Red Card who have given their time and continue to give their time. And I'm sorry if I'm missing people. I'm sure that Jed is watching the names of everybody who's joining and will chip in respect of who they are. But I noticed that Paul Parker joined the Zoom, and that's absolutely brilliant because he did play for the greatest team of all time. And welcome, Paul. It's absolutely fantastic to have you here. Obviously, we've also got Paul Elliott on the call, fantastic player and a fantastic supporter of Show Racism the Red Card, and a fantastic advocate for against racism across so many forums. The next speaker that we have is Simone Pound from the PFA, who's again a fantastic supporter of Show Racism the Red Card. She's head of equalities and diversity at the PFA and has committed her life to fighting for equality, diversity and against racism. So Simone, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Howard. Thank you, Len. Thank you everyone for being here, and congratulations to the speakers who have spoken so eloquently before me. Football has always had the power to unite and inspire for change in society, never more so than now, and never is it needed more than it is today. From the early days of Show Racism the Red Card, when footballers were abused on the terraces and ran home from games for fear of being beaten up by the National Front, who used football grounds as recruitment drives, to the work they do across the country, raising awareness and understanding about the issues and complexities of race and racism, and the importance of inclusion, acceptance, and understanding of other people and cultures that may be different to the ones that you are familiar with. Wear Red Day is an important extension of that work, raising vital funds and awareness to ensure the Show Racism the Red Card education programme is able to continue in as many schools around the country as possible, educating not just young people, but the teachers they work with and their parents and carers by association. As the country and world seem to teeter on an axis, veering precariously ever closer to far-right politics and fascism, we must all come together and make a stand to be loudly and proudly anti-racist. Players taking the knee has been an important and very visible message of solidarity around the world, demonstrating solidarity for the injustices that Black people face, which has been highlighted since the death of George Floyd in America. We've worked closely with those footballers who rightly wanted to demonstrate their commitment to Black Lives Matter, and we were proud that Black and white players equally felt as passionate and empowered to take the knee as Project Restart began, and the eyes of the world were watching the English game. It was an important moment in football's anti-racist history and signified a powerful stance by the players in the same way that Xhaka made such a powerful stance when he began Show Racism the Red Card all those years ago. The PFA is proud to be a founding and funding partner, and thanks all of the members and former members of the PFA who have worked tirelessly delivering educational programmes and anti-racism messages. Your work and efforts are fantastic and have been for nearly 25 years now. Now is the time to move ever forward and ensure equalities is embedded in clubs, schools, workplaces and the wider community for the good of all of our futures. The PFA will always support the players and will continue to champion their rights to equality in the workplace that extends now from the football pitch to the World Wide Web, on social media, and the online harms that players receive is just not acceptable. Wear Red Day makes a stand against racism and injustice of all kinds to all people in all areas of our society, and the PFA are delighted to support Show Racism the Red Card on this Wear Red Day. We hope as many clubs will get involved and put aside allegiances to club colours and unite together to be loudly and proudly anti-racist.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Superb, Simone. Thank you very much. Just to give a shout out to some more people who've joined. Monty Panesar, who's obviously played for England 77 times. Thank you for joining, Monty. Absolutely brilliant. Actress Tracy Wilkinson, better known as Di Barker to many, has joined. So thank you very much, Tracy, for joining. Charlotte Potts from Hibs women's team has joined us. Absolutely brilliant. Michael Morrison, Reading Football Club. And Chris Fleming is on the call, who is the second patron of Show Racism the Red Card, which leads me into Shaka Hislop, who is the president of Show Racism the Red Card and the first patron, and an incredible story that I'll leave for Jed to tell you later on in respect of how Shaka came to be the first patron of Show Racism the Red Card and the president. Absolutely superb to have you on the call. Shaka, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. And if you allow me just to take a few moments of my own, there's some people on this chat that I would like to thank for the roles that they played in my life. I'll start with Neville Southall, who's got more mentions than anybody else so far on this Zoom chat. But growing up as a young goalkeeper in Trinidad and Tobago, Neville was very much a hero and an inspiration to me in my own effort. So I wanted to take this opportunity to say that to him and to say thank you. I also wanted to thank people like Chris Houghton, John Barnes, Leroy Rossignol, Paul Parker, who just joined, for the roles that you played in allowing me to recognize my own dreams of playing football professionally. Without your efforts, without your resolve, many of us, Black and brown players, could not make a profession in the game that we love in the way that we did. So thank you for your efforts in what seemed a thankless task at the time, I am sure. But speaking for one young man growing up in Trinidad and Tobago, those efforts those ripples go further than I think you expected or appreciated at the time. I also wanted to thank friends and teammates. Curtis Fleming is on the call, as is Steve Howie. Two guys who, in our earliest days at Show Racing the Red Card, willingly gave their time to go around to schools in the Northeast, to talk to kids, to speak your truth, to tell your stories. Without your efforts, without your time, I don't think we could be where we are today, and having the conversations that we all do. Those conversations, those visits to schools have been the foundation of Show Racism, the Red Card. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to Jed, who has been the motivation behind Show Racism, the Red Card. It was Jed who approached me and got me on board with his work and what he was doing. To Simone Pound, who has become a friend and an inspiration over the years. But without you both, again, I don't think we have some of the conversations that we have. I don't think the game as a whole has the impact that it does and continues to, and I'm sure will continue to do for another 25 years. Now, Show Racism, the Red Card is UK's leading anti-racism educational charity. And I want to zero in on that a little. I proudly have 2 university degrees, but my greatest and most valuable education came in sharing spaces with people who did not look like me, who did not share my background, who maybe didn't speak of the same first language as I did. And I want to go out and challenge this organization, each of our patrons, all of our supporters, to go out and find that education similarly in people who maybe don't share your ideologies, who maybe don't love as you do, who don't speak the same first language that you do. What we've been witnessing over the last few months with the uprising of the Black Lives Matter movement is that this is very much a human rights issue, and it's interconnected. And we have to hold each other accountable in uplifting each other. And the cliche that I often use is a rising tide lifts all boats. And right now that rising tide is Black lives. But in uplifting and respecting Black lives in this moment, we also uplift and recognize the lives of asylum seekers, of immigrants, of the LGBTQ community, of our frontline workers who have been both praised and chastised to no end over recent months for putting their lives on the line in an effort to make ours all the better. This is a challenge for us as an educational charity, because that's who we are, and that's where we want to see this world going. We there also have to then challenge those companies that we work for, that support our organization, and those that don't, to recognize the diversity that we all call for. Because if we are to realize the equality and inclusion that we speak of, those large corporate entities also have to do their part in recognizing the diversity, whether it's the clubs that we play for or used to play for, or the clubs that we support. What are they doing in terms of representing the game and our greatest ideals? I think what we are also seeing is the challenge of our past and our ugly past. I don't feel that we are at all constrained by the ugly past of racism, of colonialism, of slavery. We are constrained by our refusal to address them and how it continues to affect people of all walks of life in today's society. So we have to open up those lines of conversations with those around us. How do we address the past in making a better future for all of us? I'm also aware that we're here talking about the launch of Wear Red Day, an initiative that has been ongoing for quite some time. And we're doing it now with the 25th anniversary of Show Racism the Red Card. And it has been an incredible year in so many respects. But to recognize the long-term effects of our organization, of who we are and who we believe our best selves can be, it's not just in these moments of this high tide. We have to be prepared to continue to do the work, have the conversations, continue to speak our truths, continue to seek out those opportunities to educate ourselves better about the rest of the world and how we want this world to be. And wearing red may seem tough. It may seem simple, but it unifies us in a way that, again, I going back to what I said at the top and the effects of Black players who preceded us and the ripples. It recognizes us as a community. It asks everybody who is against racism, everybody who is pushing for inclusion, to just lend a nod on this one day as to who you are and who this community is and who we want to be. So I'll close now because I know we want to open up the floor to some questions, and I could take up the 20 minutes myself in asking so many in this panel about themselves. But I wanted to close by just thanking every single one of you. Those of you who have toured schools and made donations. Those of you who've just had uncomfortable conversations with somebody sitting next to you on the bus. Those of you who continue to believe in the best ideals for ourselves and the world that we want to be. Wearing red is our little nod to you and all that you continue to do. Thank you very much.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Becca, that was superb. Right, I can hear people clapping all over the Zoom. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you for that. Showing that racism stretches across society. It was wonderful. Thank you for that contribution. That we have been joined, Jed has told me, we've been joined by some others. Anwar Uden, who's one of the first Asian footballers, plays for West Ham, has joined us, and welcome, Anwar. And we have Jason Lee and Ken Moncoy, to name but a few. Yeah, everybody on the Zoom, thank you very much for joining us. I am going to open this up now to questions. We have some questions that have come in while we've been on, and I'm going to steer them to people. But if anybody wants to make a contribution, please do put your hand up on the participants, and I'll see if I can bring you in. So the first question was, why did you get involved in Show Racism the Red Card? And obviously, I'm looking to hear everybody's individual experiences here. Please talk from the heart. And I'm going to throw it out to a few people first of all, and ask Chris Houghton, who has come on the call, to contribute. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, I think because of the amount of people that are obviously on the platform today, I'll keep it relatively short for two reasons. Really. And one might sound quite funny and strange, was was Jed and Jed's persistence. And what I didn't know Jed at the time. I was a Londoner that had been brought up in a very multicultural society, and there I had was Jed pestering me, a fella from Newcastle, which was at the time, of course, a predominantly white area, but he spoke with such enthusiasm and vigor, it was impossible to ignore him. But it was mostly about the things that he said, and of course, at that time in particular, it was about black players and receiving racism from within the game or from the turnstiles. But what Jed spoke about were two things, and he spoke about fighting against all forms of discrimination, and most importantly was about the work on education and the work on education that needed to be done. And I think certainly going forward and over these years, and I think we are going through an incredibly important time at the moment, and the key will always be education, the education of our kids, children, to bring them into a society where, you know, they don't see discrimination and they don't see bias.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thank you, Chris. That's fantastic. I can empathise with Jed being a pain. So but what a topic to be a pain on. He persistent is the word for him. So fantastic, Chris. Curtis Fleming's on the call as well. Curtis, I wonder if you could tell us how and why you first became involved with Show Races and the Red Card.
I changed my car.
All right. That's it. All right.
Sorry, guys. Just on give me the keys there and knock the camera off. These too many Zoom calls, guys. I'm not getting used to it. I just wrote down persistence. I just thought Chris was very, very nice there and very calm. Great word. I would have called it probably stalking. I would have called it bullying, and I would have called it maybe kidnap at times. But it was wonderful because I think when I met Jed initially, you know, one of the first patients that come after Shaka, I kind of really wasn't sure about how it could have an effect on anybody's life or what I could do really to help. And the biggest thing I'd say is and probably a lot of the guys and girls and most people listening that have been involved with the charity for so long will probably say that it's changed their life, because it's changed my life. When we talk about education, we've done a few Zooms recently, and I was saying that I think I'm getting educated every day by this charity and what the effects we can have on it. And when we went into the schools initially, I know Laura was talking about us going in. She had to put up with us. You know, we were used to having a ball under our arm and going. And we got a chance really to share, you know, some of our experiences with us. And the biggest thing was it brought out the real feelings. It was probably the first time in a lot of years, me being from Dublin, being a black kid, being brought up and racially abused for a lot of times through my early life, was a chance to really share with people the real feelings and the raw feelings and the racism and what racism can do to affect your life. And sometimes you bottle them up and you think it's okay. We talk about the players, you know, a lot of players on here who are wonderful players and that I looked up to. And again, I think when I look at Chris there, and I think Chris was a, you know, small little black right back playing for Ireland. And I think there's nothing better in the world than making an effect or having a chance in your mind or thinking that you can achieve something when you see somebody up there in the halls of power playing for Ireland or whoever it is that looks like you. And it really gives you a chance. And I think that's what every person on here has tried to do and try to you know, have an effect on people below. But the last thing is we're talking about, you know, everything that we've talked about is about Wear Red Day, and it's a £1 donation. And I just want people to really realise what the effect that can have on. We're not just looking for money just for willy-nilly to do things. We're looking to educate young kids and have an effect on people's lives. And I think that's huge. And when we think about a pound, you know, what do we do with a pound every day? If every one of us give a pound, they're on here, or people that we know give a pound, we can affect young people's lives for the rest of their lives. I know it's still affecting me at 50 years old. So I think there's no doubt we've got a long way to go in the education. But again, I'll stop talking. There's too many good talkers on here to take up too much time. But I'm really thrilled that I was asked to come on here today. And absolutely, you know, ecstatic that I'm able to sit with a panel of people that I've looked up to, that I really respect, and that we'll fight a good fight together.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thanks, Curtis. That's absolutely fantastic. Two role models for Ireland, yourself and Chris. Absolutely brilliant. Curtis, one of the best headlines I love about you is the one where it says, "I gave up my wedding to make my Irish debut." It might have been a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Absolutely brilliant. So thanks very much, Curtis. Matt Murray's on the call. Matt, I wonder if you could come in on this as well, if that's okay.
Yeah, hi guys. Echo a lot of things that Curtis and Chris and the guys have said there. So again, a big reason why Show Racing the Red Card was so important for me is a bit, Curtis has mentioned there of his background. Personally, I'm adopted from birth. Grew up, my stepdad's from Wallasey, grew up watching Neville Southall. So there's another mention for Big Nev. And he was my hero. And I used to roll my socks down, even my skinny calves, had the Sondico shin pads and everything else, and just wanted to be Neville Southall. And when I went then to play for clubs, I wanted to be a goalkeeper. Oh, aren't you quick? Aren't you strong? And people talk about stereotypes, but no, I want to be a goalkeeper. So that's then when I saw the likes of Shaka, David James, and that's still remember being a 16-year-old and Shaka ringing my house and speaking to me. And I've got a Shaka's shirt in my office. I'm here. Got Neville Southall's signature on the wall, and it was football that really made me believe and relate and everything else. So I felt that Show Racing the Red Card when I was playing at Wolves was just so powerful. Jed came to me, spoke with such passion. And yes, you can wear a T-shirt when you do your warm-up. You can hold up a thing on a team photo, but actually, no, give your time. Go and speak to children. Like Curtis says, talk about what it's like when I was the only black kid in the playground and I couldn't play. I wasn't allowed to play because I was black, or you get chased home from school and things like that. So yeah, there's lots of people who are big inspirations for me. Football was massive for me. So to go along, see what amazing work they did. I learned so much myself when I was on the workshops and with people from all different walks of life against all forms of discrimination. So I just thought it was an amazing charity, fantastic charity. So many people that when I started are still here on this now, on the panel. So I just think it's an unbelievable charity. Education's key. And I feel if I can do my bit like everybody else here, then that will make changes for my children, their children, and lots of other people. And I just think football is just an unbelievable vehicle for it. And yeah, so that's why I got involved. And I think it's just a fantastic, fantastic charity. And we've all got our stories, but you can just see the power that you have and the message that you send out to children. And I believe that ultimately they will be the key and keep making a change and making a change. So yeah, that's how I got involved in the charity. I think it's an amazing charity, and keep up the great work.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Brilliant, Matt, and thank you for everything you do. I just want to give a shout out to Paul Davies that I've just noticed on the Zoom, obviously part of the fantastic Arsenal champions winning team of 1989. They had a fantastic victory at Anfield. It was incredible. I know that Len will be very pleased to hear me give a shout out to that team. I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on to the next question about obviously the issues of today and Black Lives Matters movement, which is obviously shone a light in respect of racism and really opened people's eyes. And at times there's been commentary made that certainly I would have rejected in respect to the Black Lives Movement. It's for me, it's really shone a light on racism. But I want to get the views to some people on the panel, if I may, about what they think about the Black Lives Movement. There's been a few questions have come in respect of it. I wonder, John Barnes, I wonder if you could let us know your thoughts in respect of the Black Lives Movement.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me on. I don't know why you brought me on straight after, talking about Paul Davies beating Liverpool 2-0 to win the league. So I'll have to pull up about that. Also, I've just recovered from the fact that Shaka Hislop is pretending he's much younger than me, because my father grew up in Trinidad with Shaka, and people don't understand Shaka had a degree before he came to England. He didn't come as a 16, 17-year-old. So we're a similar age, Shaka. So stop pretending that, as a young kid growing up, you used to look up to me. Right. Black Lives Matter, as far as I'm concerned, means a lot of different things to different people. Obviously, the whole George Floyd situation may have sparked it, but for me, Black Lives Matter is about vocational, educational, economic, social, and intellectual equality for all Black people. Unfortunately, we focus on the fact that maybe a white policeman may kill a Black man, or a footballer may get abused by a racist football fan, or a Black actor may not get an Oscar. And a lot of people are focusing on that. But what that does is that absolves the rest of society to look at itself, to say, what is the real meaning of Black Lives Matter? And as I said, Marcus Rashford was mentioned and what he actually achieved. And that's not a Black Lives Matter situation. That is an underprivileged situation whereby he showed what can be achieved when a high-profile Black person uses his platform to not talk about how terrible it is in Bulgaria for racist fans, but to talk about how terrible it is in the inner cities of where Black and ethnic minorities are disproportionately disadvantaged. That is what I believe, for me, Black Lives Matter means. So, Laura, I was listening to Laura earlier, and of course, from the point of view of right-wing activists who we assume they are the real racists. What we have to understand is racism is not just about right wing. You have lots of working class people who are racist as well, as much as they are also discriminated against from a class perspective, and the nuances between class and color obviously intermingles. But my whole thing, and Laura mentioned it, was about unconscious bias. We have to understand why people are racist before we can actually dismantle the idea of racial hierarchy. We have to first of all acknowledge that it exists and where it actually came from. And we're focusing a lot on slavery here in England in terms of, the Colstons and the statues of the slaves and who has benefited from slavery. What has overwhelmingly impacted on racism was colonialism, much more than slavery. After 1850s, when Africa was colonized, a narrative has to be told about the inferiority of a certain group of people who are Black, very much like the inferiority of women and gays in terms of the perception we have of them. But purely from a Black perspective, we have to dismantle what we have been wrongly told about Black people. That is why I say racism is understandable, because of what we have been told, wrongly lied about different groups of people. And we feel that we can just all of a sudden say it's wrong to be racist, and we can pass laws and then racism will disappear, because there are always going to be ways around the laws. That is why I'm so pleased to be involved with Show Racism in the Red Card, because they're talking about, from an educational point of view, that is the only way to get rid of racism. Laws can be passed to hold people accountable. Police, football clubs, but in terms of really getting to the crux of the matter, in terms of the inner cities where kids aren't being given an education, people aren't being given opportunities, equal opportunities. And it's fine for John Barnes to get a job as a manager, or Obama to be president, but what about the kids in the inner cities and Black people who are walking down the street, who when a woman clutches her purse close to her because a Black man is walking towards her? That's racism you can't see, that's racism you can't prove, and that is the most dangerous form of racism. And so, therefore, why I'm very pleased from the Show Racism in the Red Card is because it's from an educational point of view that we're trying to really make a change. I'm going to finish now, but just to let you know about a situation that Shaka will know about that happened in Central Park in New York. There's a woman called Amy Cooper, who, I don't know if you've seen the video where she called the police on a Black man because she pretended to be threatened by him. Amy Cooper is a left-wing, liberal, Black Lives Matter, would have been Black Lives Matter supporter with a t-shirt on. She doesn't see herself as racist. She doesn't see herself as racially biased. She doesn't see herself as right-wing. So the majority of us are biased unconsciously because of what we have been wrongly told. So rather than pointing the finger at the ones who get caught, be it Liam Neeson, Peter Beardsley, the football fans, let's look at ourselves and say, how do we really feel about equality? And until we acknowledge that it exists within the average person, and blame the environment that they were brought up in to make them think that way. Don't blame the individuals. Don't blame the 12-year-old boy at Tottenham. What choice has he got? This is what the world has showed him. So let's challenge the environment that makes people think this way, rather than coming down hard on individuals and feeling we're really making a difference because we're banning 2 Bulgarian football fans. So I'm really pleased to be involved. Thanks very much for having me. And Shaka, I hope to see you soon in New York.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thanks, John. That's great. And obviously, education being the core of Show Racism, the red card, and you've hit the essence of it in respect of showing people, shining a light on their own inherent racism. Tracy Wilkinson, I wonder if you could come in on this to give us your thoughts on what you think of the Black Lives Matters movement.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And you know, a huge supporter of Show Racism, the red card. Before I sort of talk about Black Lives Matter, I just wanted to kind of reiterate what people were saying about the education aspect of this. It's incredible. When I first came along to a presentation to see these kids kind of win their prizes, and having kind of worked for weeks and weeks on pictures and ways in which they'd learned about racism, just to see their faces with the football players and with everyone there, that they were meeting heroes that they'd learned something about, that they could hear and listen to and really kind of learn something about what it meant to be equal now, and also that football is so what football does in terms of, with girls and boys now, everyone kind of is united by the beautiful game, and they talk about it, they love it, they can argue about it, and it brings them all together, not only just about the football, but also about when you're really trying to educate these kids about what equality actually is. In terms of the Black Lives Matter movement, I mean, it's something that certainly we've all been very aware of. I've certainly been aware of it, not only with George, but that absolutely bizarre video in Central Park from Amy, was it Taylor? And absolutely that we need to take it from an absolutely fundamental point of view. John's absolutely right. Let's not kind of castigate the individuals. Let's take it from that absolute essence, whereby we really have to take it from our environment. We have to start right at the bottom of our environment, look at the dissonance between within our communities, and start right at the very, very nub of things, instead of just attacking individuals. I don't know what else to say really, except that I'm very proud to be part of Show Racism, the red card, and it's incredible and it's both a disappointment that we're still on this journey and we're still struggling with this journey, you know, for how many years we've been doing it, but it's still an amazing journey to be on, and let's just keep on plugging it.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Thanks, Tracy. That's fantastic. We've still got a few more minutes left, and there's a couple of more questions coming in, but I'm going to try and get a few more contributions from people, if that's okay. And I wonder, Paul Elliott, I wonder if you've got some words that you can say about Black Lives Matters and what you think of the movement.
Well, listen, I, like each and every one of us, there's a common denominator that we all want to be change agents. We know that we're all role models. We all have a unique power. We've had a lot of experiences. We've had adversity as players, people of colour, women. But what we've tried to do, I believe, is
Paul, we're having some problems with your... Can you hear me, Paul? We're having some problems with your sound, so I'm going to ask the modulator to mute you, and we'll come back to you if we can get them sorted out. Okay, listen, I do have some other questions that are specific in respect of how and why you're going to be supporting Show Racism the Red Card on Wear Red Day. What are the panelists planning? Have they got any ideas for the viewers who are watching? And I wonder if Neville, your name has been mentioned so often through this Zoom. I couldn't not bring you in. It's it's a privilege to have you on the Zoom. I got an awful lot of mates who are red noses, and it's wonderful how many times you stop them from boasting about their team. So fantastic for all of that, and fantastic for your contribution to society and Show Racism the Red Card. I'm sure many of us follow you on Twitter, but I wonder if I could bring you in on how you're going to support Wear Red Day.
In all fairness, I probably won't because it's red. But in the main, I wear a Welsh hat. I think that'll do, won't it? I can't be wearing anything red. In all fairness, I'll get killed. But the main reason I do support it is because of when we played the game against Liverpool with John Barnes, and John Barnes got his bananas thrown at him. I thought it was wrong then. I think it's wrong now. And I think we have no role models at the top of society that anybody can look up to. And I think we need to change the education at the top as well as the bottom. I think the kids, when I work in schools, the kids are more accepting now than any time than they've ever been. They're accepted of gay people, accepted of everybody. The top seems to be the most divisive I've ever known it. And I think we need to look at the top and try and change the top, because I think we've had the three or probably four worst people in the world, which is Trump, Johnson, Farage, and Tommy Robinson. For me, they've driven a wedge in the country, and we need to unite the country. And this is the best way of doing it, I think, is education all the time. Like I say, I think generations will grow closer, but I think at the moment we've got a situation where people have put their own politics and their own wants before the wants of the country. And I do think Show Racism Red Card should be funded heavily by the government. It should be funded heavily by the FA, and it should be funded by every local authority, because I think it's that important that we need to learn that everybody's the same, but everybody's unique. And if we don't do that, we're going to have a society where things are always going to be unequal. And that's not right. We have to have a society that's equal for everybody, no matter what you look like, how much you earn. It doesn't matter. We need a society that is for everybody and not just for the few. And I think at the moment, society's always been for the top few, and I think we need to change that. But I would say a thank you to all the black players, because I think what they've shown, that they've always been a stepping stone for the next one, and their bravery, their courage, their dedication, I think has been brilliant. And also, I don't know whether you thought about from this angle, because I do a lot with the LGBT people, the way you've gone about doing it is giving a blueprint for the next gay player to come out. When he comes out, he'll be a stepping stone. And the journey you've been on, they will go on. And I think because of your efforts, it will be a lot easier for the first gay footballer to come out than the first black player to ever play. So I thank you for that, and I'm really, really proud to be involved with it.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
That's brilliant, Neville. Thank you very much. I'm going to bring Charlotte Potts in, Hibs footballer. Charlotte, could you say what you think of Wear Red Day and how you plan to support it?
Hi. Yeah, I'm really, really supportive of Wear Red Day. I think I try to get involved with sort of like health and social care. They're really introducing LGBTQ a lot and sort of educating the equality and diversity in that. And I think football for every organisation is a great way to help educate the different organisations. So I try to get amongst like different organisations to help educate.
Thank you, Charlotte. That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to ask for a couple more contributions and then move to winding up, if that's okay. I'm going to ask the amazing Monty to come in on this and let us know how you're going to support Wear Red Day, Monty.
Yeah, well, thank you for getting me involved with this charity, and thank you, Jed, for giving me. I think what the charity has done, it's been a great educational platform, for people in this country, because some of the racial issues which I wasn't aware of, by being involved with the charity and being a patron of the charity, it really opened up my eyes. I didn't realize, the racism that Black people face is far more extreme than, let's say, the brown person does in this country. So I do believe that, the Black people do take priority, in all sectors, and especially in areas where they're really, really good at. So the likes of sports and music, which when I, did my little bit of research and tried to learn more about Black Lives Matter, I was alarmed that why aren't there enough English Black managers in the Premier League or in all forms, any part of football? That needs to take place. That's completely unfair. Between the ages of 45 to 65, Black people are not in senior management positions, but their participation rates are much higher between the ages of 18 to 30. So that's where, the sort of bar stops really. Once you're retired or once you've hit your glass ceiling, after the age of 40, 45, you just fizzle away, and you just see it's an elitist culture. We have an upper class culture where it's dominated by white people, in the institution, in parliament, which is going to be, is going to be difficult for all of us. So I do believe that the real change that has to take place is from the top. We need to see more Black MPs, involved with the Conservative Party, whichever one's in power. Then also, we need to see the FA, they need to fund, like you said, this charity, but it's going to be the voice of the white people that's going to change this. Black people, brown people can, talk about it, do all of that. But because the white people are in power, it will have to come from a white person to really drive the change. And I'm so pleased to see that Tracy Wilkinson, Neville Southall, Howard Beckett, they're all involved here, because you guys will hear everyone's voices, and hopefully someone like Jed can, have a huge impact. And having someone like John Barnes here, who, has probably faced, some, awful racism, hearing his stories, really, sort of makes you, wonder how we can, help society in this country. And this charity is absolutely perfect for change in this country.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
Brilliant, Monty. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you. Obviously, an injustice to one is an injustice to us all. So thank you for that, Monty. I don't know if Rachel Yankee's there to give us a wave. I know that Michael Morrison's got his baby there as well. So Rachel, are you there to give us a wave? If not, I'm going to bring in Michael. Michael, do you want to give us a contribution? Oh, Rachel, brilliant. Michael, do you want to come in next, mate?
Yeah, hiya. Yeah, it's fantastic to hear everybody's experiences and listening to how inspiring they are. Obviously, I come from a different background, and it's really interesting to hear what people have got to say. And talking about the education, that's why I got involved. It's the biggest driver for change, and obviously that's a massive thing for the organisation, and it's vital to educate people if we do want change. And obviously the Wear Red Day, it's not just a gimmick. There's a lot of stuff that we'll do at Reading for social media, and there's a lot of people you can touch with in football now, and players can use their social media and their influence to get people to look on the website and to look at their actions, and that's how I'll be helping with the Wear Red Day.
Super, Michael. Excellent, thank you. Rachel, give me a thumbs up if you can talk. If not, if you've got baby problems, understandable.
I'd like to hear a dog speak. she's with me, but you never know if she's just going to start singing or something.
She can wear red.
She's wearing red at the moment, so yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
So Rachel, how do you plan to support Wear Red Day?
Definitely. I mean, I used to work a lot in primary schools, so you know, when Jed asked me to be involved, straight away as soon as he said education, you know, working with kids, for me it's the way to go. And you know, you get so many good answers and so many questions from children and debates, as I'm probably going to get now. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I think for me, it's all about that education and understanding, and no matter what your age, that you're able to learn. I've learned so much. I'm still learning, still trying to educate other people, trying to understand myself, and trying to, I suppose, look at things that happened in my career and look at it in a positive way, and how can I make sure that I can help others and younger players that are coming through now, because we have a massive problem in women's football. Not only are there not enough black managers, but there definitely isn't enough black players. So, you know, we have to look at those things. And I think only by educating and helping us all, we can obviously get through that. Sorry, she's on one.
Brilliant, Rachel. Thank you very much. Listen, you get some advantages as chair, and my advantage is that I'm going to call in a player who played for the greatest football team of all time, bar none, and that is, of course, Paul Parker. So I wonder, Paul, if you could finish off in respect of how you plan to support Wear Red Day.
To be perfectly honest, I haven't got a clue. Maybe Jed's going to throw something at me, but I hasn't really popped into my head. I've been hearing everyone else, and I've been trying to think of something, so I couldn't think of anything.
You can get all of Manchester United to hold up a Wear Red Day card and contribute some money to Show Racism the Red Card. That's my tip, Paul.
Is it? I think they're more concerned about getting money up to buy players. They're going to be that selfish at this moment in time. But just on the educational part of it, Jed kind of asked me would I get involved, and so he done something incredible in the fact to be managed to get me into a class environment with kids. I was one of those kids who didn't enjoy going to school. I avoided it. I made my mind up exactly what I wanted to do, and going in a classroom was never going to make me what I wanted to be. I wanted to be outside. So to actually go to football clubs and then coach loads of kids turn up, and I'm standing there wondering what's going to happen next year, and I'm watching those children sitting down and listening, and they're actually listening to what's going on in front of them. And then when they're asked a question, I've never seen so many arms go up to answer one question. It was absolutely incredible when I was seeing that. I was more concerned about kids dislocating their arms, how quick they were throwing them up. But it just made me just realise, a different side, what Show Racism the Red Card was all about. And I'm that person who goes around when other people talk to me about other things going on, I always throw it up first because of what it's actually contributing and what it's actually delivering. It's actually going to the main point of life, which is children. They're the ones who actually everything stems from them. They're not born racist. They become racist because of life and the way that what's happened in their life and where they live, the people who are involved in their life. And they're the ones who can actually maybe even turn people around, maybe turn their parents, whoever it is in their life who's maybe not saying the right things to them. So just come off this now. As I just look forward to going into schools or I've been to Colchester United and working. Kids have been brought in. I've been to Southend United and kids have been brought in there as well. I really do honestly enjoy going to do that. And I look forward to doing it again at some point. Thank you very much.
Text RED to 70470 to donate £1. You can text RED 5 to donate £5, RED 10 to donate £10, or RED 20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus a standard rate message.
That's brilliant, Paul. Thank you for that, and thank you for all you do for Show Racism and the Red Card. I haven't seen any hands up in the participants bar. We've got another few minutes to go, so I don't know if anybody else wants to contribute. If nobody's got their hands up, I think I'll move to Shaka and Jed for some closing comments. Shaka, do you want to tell us how you'll be supporting Wear Red Day and any closing comments you might have?
Well, for those of you who may not know, I'm based in the US, so I'll be supporting by wearing red and trying to contribute to the continued efforts in England, how and when I can, and so that's going to be my efforts, and I'm sure I'll take this opportunity. Jed will speak about some interesting partnerships that Show Racism Red Card have coming up around Wear Red Day, which we're both excited and proud to be a part of. But I'll use this opportunity for my closing comments, since you gave me that clue there, Chair. I'm still, some 25 years into this organization. I'm still amazed by the support we get by people who I can now call friend, and the work that they continue to do day in, day out in building a world that I visioned for my children some 25 years ago, and to know that they shared in that vision and continue to do the work and then put in the efforts that they have is simply astounding and inspiring in so many ways. I still, when people mention my name as being founding patron and being involved for as long as I have, it's still in a sense of disbelief, because I'm never quite sure how to receive that. I just felt I was doing what was right. Jed was very much the wind in the sails, and as he continues to be. And I don't think I could have been that person without the support of those who I mentioned earlier, and as I mentioned, Curtis Fleming and Steve Howie, and I keep picking on Steve whenever we have these talks. Where else in the world can some skinny kid from Trinidad and Tobago sit alongside a Macam representing the Geordies and go out onto the pitch with the same intention, and then when we come off, we just as determined to put what went wrong right and build on the things that went well. I mean, the life lessons there are phenomenal. And through the 25 years of being involved with Show Racism the Red Card, I've not only found inspiration, I've found friendships where I didn't think I could. So I would just like to close by looking forward to the next 25 years, the next 25 years of us wearing red, and us continuing to challenge ourselves as an organization, continue to challenge the people that we interact with, and for us to continue to learn. Because as much as this is an educational charity, I think I speak for everybody in saying that we've learned more than those we've interacted with. Let's keep that same energy. Let's keep that same spirit. And let's look forward to what the future may hold, because when you look back on the path that we've come, it's inspiring and it's pride filling. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Shaka. That's fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, we're certainly trying to move history towards justice. Jed, do you want to finish up with some closing remarks, mate? Your name has been mentioned all over the place, sometimes in vain, sometimes in humour, but always with love.
Yeah, I like Laura picked up wheeling me around events. That was my favourite comment. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the people who haven't come in today, who have given that time. John Beresford in particular, because he's been on the phone about 8 times. He's in some area that doesn't have a network. So I know Bez is going to watch it on YouTube afterwards. He wanted me to put him on my phone, but I'm not sure that would have worked. But Bez was the person who came into the first school with Shaka back in January of 1996. And I think that event always sticks with me because it was a black player and a white player. And Des mentioned in that event, a lot of people know the Shaka story, but Des's story is just as important. A white guy from Sheffield who used to do monkey chants. A white guy from Sheffield who admitted his dad was a racist. The person, the way he phrased it to the young people is, the person I love the most in this world is a racist. And about changing attitudes. And if we look back at that first film, it was that white and black people together that inspired people and made a difference. And that's why I'm so inspired at the moment by the Black Lives Matter movement. It's been a terrible 6 months. I'm sure everybody would agree with that. The lockdown, the virus that we are living with and continue to live with. And originally, Show Red Card had to change everything that we were doing and move it online. But it all changed on May the 25th, and it took the murder of George Floyd and the horrific murder of George Floyd to break the movement. But as Shaka refers to, it was the spark. The rise in racism has been going on in this country for 10 years. We've been pointing to it because of Islamophobia from 9/11 and 7/7 onwards, and the demonization of immigrants. And isn't it ironic that immigrants have helped us through this pandemic? Immigrants and migrants have helped on the NHS. Immigrants and migrants are the key workers in our society, and yet they've been demonized throughout the last 10 years, not just by Nigel Farage. He is the tip of the iceberg and one of the most hateful of the right wing, but by mainstream politicians blaming migrants. So Show Red Cards are inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement. We believe it has to be a movement that does inspire change. I think John Bonds was fantastic in the words that he gave us today. We need education at the heart of that response. And we need a change in our curriculum. We want anti-racism on the national curriculum. Of course, we will celebrate Black History Month next month. 1st of October, we want all our supporters supporting the Black History Month. But it cannot be about 1 month, given the Black history of this country. And we have to give teachers the space to teach anti-racism and Black history on the national curriculum. And that's one of the key demands we'll be given at Show Racism the Red Card going forward. I want to mention a few names before I finish off. People who've been fantastic supporters, who are on the line, who haven't contributed. Jason Lee from the PFA, incredible supporter of Show Racism Red Card. Paul Davis and Paul Mortimer, inspiring individuals who've been incredible. I wouldn't even want to guess, but I mean, Paul Mortimer worked for us, so I definitely wouldn't want to guess how many events he's attended. But Paul Davis, what a player, but also what an inspiration at Arsenal he's been in opening the doors of that club for us. Arsene Wenger was a great supporter of ours and still is, but it was Paul Davis who opened the doors for us at that club, a great club for Show Racism Red Card. Ken Moncau, who is what I always say, one of the nicest people you'll meet in football, but a fantastic ambassador for the work that we do. Thank you, Ken. Chris Freestone and Dave Bennett, inspirations from the Midlands. I can't believe Dave Bennett hasn't chipped in, by the way. I will tell his brother Gary that Dave didn't
Hello.
speak. All right, there he is. I was going to say there's a first. Finally, Anwar Uddin and Steve Howie for their fantastic contributions. Anwar, look out. During Black History Month, we did an interview with Anwar on the inspirational work he is doing amongst Asian and Black supporters. What a fantastic role he's played, not only with Show Racism Red Card in the work he did with us as an education worker, but the work he continues to do with Kick It Out and the Football Supporters Federation. Incredible work with Fans for Diversity, and we'll be celebrating that, Anwar, in the work that we're doing in the next few months around Black History Month. Your film will feature on our website. So in finishing off, I want to just say a little bit about Wear Red Day, which is why we're here. We started 6 years ago, and it was started because our government money at that stage had ended, and we literally made a public appeal because we didn't know how we were going to keep the staff that we have. We're lucky enough to have 25 staff throughout the UK full time. and our funding was being cut dramatically. Wear Red Day has grown from 6,000 people to 77,000 last year, and we believe that over 100,000 people will take part this year. We've had the biggest influx of public support at Show Red Card we've ever had around the last few weeks, an incredible amount of support. And we're going to use Wear Red Day to make sure we really celebrate and stand united against racism. So the strap lines we're using are keep up the momentum. We want to make sure that Black Lives Movement does lead to change. It should not be a moment. It has to continue to be a movement that makes change. And we think Wear Red Day on the 16th of October, and along with Black History Month, and along with other initiatives, is the way to do that. One announcement is that Kickers, we've got a number of companies have come on board. Asda, fantastic support from Asda, and they will be supporting our competition. Dr. Martens will also be supporting both Wear Red Day and the competition. But in particular, Kickers, the shoe manufacturers, who are going to be working with us in schools, have given the following prizes for any school. That we're going to have a draw of 3 schools who can win these prizes. A total of £4,500 worth of football kit from them, by a Mitre, one of their sporting arms. 200 diversity books from King's Night Books, and 15 Amazon Fire tablets. Never start reading out, should I? Tell I didn't do that well at school and reading out. The point being, please, have a look at our website. Please appeal to schools, register for the competition, and also register to take part in the work they're doing. Wear Red Day is about standing with us in solidarity. It is about raising money so we can continue our education work, but it's more important than that. People at the moment are isolated at home, and we believe this can be a moment of solidarity against racism and standing together in unity against racism. And I firmly believe that this is our time now. And finishing off, Leroy Rossini at the beginning said, this is the most important year for Show Red Card and anti-racism. I totally agree with that. We will step up to the mark now. We're opening an office very soon in the Northwest, but we're going to move our resources all online, and we are going to make a big difference amongst adult education and young people's education. Our team are itching to go online and make a difference. We obviously hope this virus is going to be defeated, but the bigger virus for us is racism, and we will endeavour to defeat that. It may not be this year like the virus, and it may not be next year, but we'll make a difference. And thank you for standing with us.
Thanks, Jed. Absolutely brilliant. Listen, it falls to me to finish the meeting and to thank everybody for your contributions today, but your contributions throughout the year and years before in respect of your support for Show Racism, the Red Card. So it's Wear Red Day on the 16th of October, and nobody's quoted anybody in respect of this meeting. So to finish it off, I'll quote Angela Davis, who said that in a racist society, it's not enough to be non-racist, you have to be anti-racist. So the opportunity is there for everybody on the 16th of October to show that you're anti-racist, support Show Racism, the Red Card, fill that vacuum in the curriculum, make sure that we say loud and clear that it's a day to wear red. Thank you, everyone.
Wear Red Day is Show Racism, the Red Card's National Day of Action, which encourages schools, businesses and individuals to wear red and donate to help fund anti-racism education for young people and adults across the UK. Here are 5 ways in which you can get involved and do your bit for Wear Red Day. First of all, you can start off small by spreading the message. Stick on something red, take a picture and upload using the hashtag WRD20 to try and get as many people involved in Wear Red Day 2020 as possible. Secondly, you can take part in our Keep Up the Momentum challenge. Grab a football and a blindfold and film yourself doing as many keepy uppies as you can. Use the hashtag KeepUpChallenge, tag 3 friends and donate to Show Racism, the Red Card. Number 3, encourage your school or workplace to get involved and have everyone wearing red on October the 16th. Or if you're still working from home, hold a virtual Wear Red Day. Get everyone on a call, wearing red, and don't miss out on doing your bit. And finally, number 5, do not forget to donate to raise money to fund anti-racism education across the UK. You can text RED to 70470 to donate £1, text RED5 to donate £5, RED10 to donate £10, or RED20 to donate £20. Text costs your donation value plus your standard rate message. Have fun getting involved in Wear Red Day 2020 and don't forget to wear red on the 16th of October.